There we go. Cool. So it's time to take a look at those phase one projects you've been working on all week. I'm super excited to see what y'all got. So uh, without further ado, let's just snap into it. Um, Christian, do we have Michael as well?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead. You should be able to share a screen and just talk us through what you got.
All right. Let me do that. Screen.
It's a weather app. Is that right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. So this right here is the home. The home page, not the home page, but it's the. I guess what you would get before you search for anything. We have a toggle Celsius which is disabled up until the submit button is searched or is submitted. So if we were to look for like Los Angeles and submit it, this is where you would see your display. So you have the actual time here, the date, the today's date and the month. The 63 degrees is what's currently at Los Angeles, California, United States. And then these are just hoverable. So nice little indication of which one you're going over. All of these, I got them through the object, through the database of the API. This I got it as well. So all of this is dynamic. So tomorrow it's going to be this one here, and it's going to show the current, if it's clear, the humidity, the wind speed, et cetera, et cetera. And we also have this toggle that toggles between Celsius and Fahrenheit for those. Because this also, you could go to, say, London, and then for those that use Celsius rather than Fahrenheit. I wanted to challenge myself a little bit as well, so I decided if I could do it responsive, and I was able to do responsive. So this also works on responsive devices, depending on like what device you have. So that's pretty cool. I was pretty excited about that. And let me get rid of this right here again. There we go. And yeah, for the requirements, I mean, all of these are like 7 objects that I was able to fetch from the database. And these 3 are like the attributes that I was able to get from the database. The time, the date, I got it through regular JavaScript. The London, England, I got it from the database. And right here, I got it from the database as well. So that's pretty much the entirety of my project.
Nice. That is real pretty. That looks really great.
Thank you.
What tell me what's going on with the time there? It looks like there might be
Yeah, it's missing a zero as the last. Yeah, because when I was working on it, it was actually double digits. And then this morning I was like, crap, where's the zero? So is it 1140? Is it 11.4? I guess it's up for interpretation. But that's the only thing that I realized, like, crap,
oh yeah, it's
But
probably oh 04, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Oh, it's my time zone.
Right.
So it's 11:04. Yeah. So it's based on the time zone that you're currently in.
Oh, so you're not yeah, so what's the there's a JavaScript string function to pad it out with zeros.
Yeah, because I just used the date.
Yeah, I think string.fixed or something along those lines will help you get it in the right.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah, because I
sweet.
just use new date and then get hours for the yeah. So if I would have, and then I have the actual array of days and months up here to
Mm,
call from. Yeah.
nice.
So I was able. That's what I was able to pull from that anyway. So I'm sure moving forward, I'll find a way as I learn more. But yeah, that's what I currently have. Hopefully, it's something that is
Awesome.
passable.
Yeah, I love it. Uh,
Thank you.
anyone have any questions about the project or how anything was done? Uh,
Yeah, definitely. I dig the background gradient color and also the image. Where did you pull the image from, and was that difficult at all, or did that?
No, I was actually surprised that I was able to find such a nice image like this because typically these type of images like you have to pay. These are like blocked with like royalty that you have to like buy from.
All
But I was
right.
able to. I just did a quick Google search for a background. I tried multiple ones to see which ones I liked, and yesterday I found this one. I was like, oh crap! And I actually bookmarked it. because they have other nice ones. So I got
Cool.
it from here, but they have similar other ones that kind of have the same kind of vibe to it. So
Was it difficult at all to get it to where, I mean, maybe this is just in the functionality, but where you have your submit bar, the background is behind it. That's cool.
oh,
I
this
like
is the submit bar. The background of the submit bar, the colors is transparent. The input and the submit input, the background for both of these is transparent. The
Okay.
form, this outline that you see right here is the form outline. So I just,
Right.
because the form took up the entirety of the screen, I just put it to fit the content. And then I just added some padding, added some margin, and then I just did an outline and the border radius of, if you're using Bootstrap, it's a rounded pill. So,
So
and that gives it,
you just applied a transparency CSS type thing to the submit form itself.
yes. And
Okay,
then I just
cool.
did the border with the form, and then I just did a border round with the form. So that's what gives you that.
I like it.
Nice. I think I don't know if everyone knows about how to do the responsive stuff. Can you show off the button in the developer tools that let you do that?
Oh,
again?
sure. The button in the developer tools.
Yeah, up on the upper left there. I
How
thought
so?
that's what you clicked on.
Oh, you mean these?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So basically, if I could describe it, in the developer tools, you have two little buttons here. This is to, most of you know, to inspect what you got going on here. The other one is to make it responsive. Say you're working on a responsive mobile device on the desktop. You could drag it to make it responsive. It's somewhat responsive. I mean, tablet mode still needs a little work. But you could also have a drop-down menu right here, and then it'll give you preset dimensions for whatever phones you might want to, work with. So,
Nice.
and then you have your other ones, and you also have tablets as well, which I don't think, yes, ignore that. But for the most part, I still have a little tweaks on it. Mobile responsive wasn't a requirement, so
Oh,
still working on that a little bit.
that's great. Awesome. Yeah, super handy tool.
How do I get there again? What
Yeah, so
is
you
that
go
like?
to inspect tools,
Mhm.
and then right here, you just click on it,
Oh, got it.
and then you just get that right there. And then you can just pick from whatever you want.
So the boxes for each like weather information at the bottom or flex box? How did
Sorry?
you like make those little boxes at the bottom to like,
Oh, like these right here?
are they flex box or what type of
So what I have is so this whole section right here, it's its own div. And this div has an inner div inside of that. And that is flex, like you said, and it's a row. So within that row, I made 7 columns within that row from the display flex. All of this, as I mentioned earlier, I did it through the classes through Bootstrap. So it was very easy to implement because all you really need is the classes, and then it gives you the functionality of what a grid system would be like. So if I could show real quick.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So ignore most of the classes, the ones that we're gonna have to like look at for the most part. And if I could just do this real quick. Oh, it already is. Actually, no, I want it down here. Okay, ignore this whole thing. We're gonna be looking at this right here. If we look at this thing right here, this is its own div box right here. We're gonna be looking at the classes. So we're gonna ignore forecast because that's my specific class, but container fluid, P-5, position absolute. These other classes, I got them from something called Bootstrap. And we could implement a lot of things with the classes that you could use through Bootstrap. For instance, if we were to change the container fluid as a simple to container simple, you see how it's not spaced all the way to the end because container has a default property of spaces between the beginning and the end, and you could just adjust that accordingly. If you want this to be all the way to the end of the page, you just use flex, and then I messed it up. What did I do? we'll just, you know what, we'll ignore that. We'll reset that. That's not what I wanted to look at. There we go. Okay, so the container, like I said, is part of the class of the Bootstrap. The other thing, as you can see right here, if I highlighted this, you see two columns divided by a purplish kind of dotted outline. The one on the left is one column, and the one on the right is another column. And you could see that right here, that's one column, and you could see the other ones figure the other columns. I'm sorry, I'm not an instructor, so it's kind of difficult for me to explain. I showed the functionality of a couple of our a couple of people that wanted to learn about Bootstrap. So if you're like interested, I could give you a little bit more in-depth information. But yeah, you have a row that presents the entirety of the actual page. And then after the row, we have one column and then another column. And then what's nice is within these columns, we can make columns within columns. So then we have one column, 2 column, 3 column, 4 column, 5 column, and then 6 column. And then within these columns, you actually have your information in here. Yeah, you're able to see this. Yeah. So then what you would need is a row to decide what you want to put inside the actual column. So you have a row, and then you have column 1 within that row, and then you have column 2 within that other row. And then within these columns, like I said, you could nest columns within columns and make columns within columns to make columns within columns if you need to. Mark, I don't know if I explained that pretty well. Enough for our class to understand, but I did my best.
Yeah, I just dropped a link in the channel. There's a little game called Flex Froggy that basically teaches you how to do Flex stuff in a fun way. But yeah, it's real fun, real cool stuff.
It is fun.
Yeah, let you do a lot of stuff that used to be a tremendous pain in the ass.
It is much easier to position things with Flex and Grid than you would previously, because the grid system is already there for you. So if you wanna, because normally previously what people used to do is they used to do float, which is terrible. If you want to position stuff, or text align or stuff like that. But now with the grid and with Flex, it's much easier to position things to your liking, and easier to do it responsive as well. So.
Cool. Any other?
I think I took up more time, so unless everyone has any more questions, I think we're good.
Sweet. Good stuff. Love it.
Thank you. Let me exit through this real quick.
Yeah. So I think next up we have Clayton and Miles with a useless fact generator. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yep.
Alright.
Ours is
Yeah,
a
we
lot
got-
uglier than that. This is shown.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but
Whatever.
it
Boom.
still looks pretty decent.
No, it's pretty terrible. So
I mean,
we pull from an API that actually has a list of like 500 facts, and you can just go through all of them. Super fun. You can like
yeah, we got
dislike
a
them.
like and dislike thing. We got a comment section which hooks directly up to a database that we have set up.
Yeah, and then you
And,
can also just mouse over and delete them if you don't like them.
Yep. Unfortunately, that only
Yeah.
lasts until you refresh the page. So
Actually,
But it's
no, it's
still
it's
better.
persistent. It's persistent.
really
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah, the comment section itself is rendered using that for each loop, which goes through the database, pulls every comment that's been added to it, and just renders them each right there in the section.
Super simple.
Mm-hmm.
Are those are the comments and likes attached to the facts themselves?
No, they're attached to the website.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Stretch goal.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a crazy one actually.
It was around the time that we got like the third fetch within a fetch within a fetch. We were like, let's pump the brakes on this. This might be a
Yeah.
little much.
Yeah, start breaking stuff together.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want to talk about or show us? Any code or anything?
Let's see.
We can look at some code.
I think the code for the uh the buttons was kind of interesting. It gave us a little bit of a challenge, but we sorted it out.
That's a coding challenge. Where is it? Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Well, for the deleting the comment buttons, that's yeah, it's just going in and it basically just modifies the CSS to say display none, then display block for mousing over and revealing a X button, which is nothing crazy.
The nice thing about this actually that I realized earlier is since the button is a child of each comment, how do I put it? You ever go onto a website and it has a thing where you have to hover over a section for something to appear, and then when you move your mouse off of it, it causes that thing that appeared to just vanish.
Yeah.
If you have it set up like this, where you append the button as a child of the attribute that you're hovering over, that won't be an issue because hovering over it will cause the I want to say hitbox, like detection area,
Mhm.
to expand to encompass the button, which is really
Yeah.
nice because I thought that would be a serious issue and it wasn't.
Cool. Any folks have any questions here?
I'd just like to see a couple more useless facts.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna ask.
Simplistic passwords contribute over 80% of computer password break-ins. What else we got? Oh, that's cool.
Hmm.
Spain does lead the world in cork production.
Wow. That's actually not surprising.
That isn't a useless fact. That might be one of the most important things I've learned all day.
Yeah, if you're looking for a job in the cork industry in
And I
particular.
am.
We finally know where to find
Spanish.
the home base of big cork.
Question: what database are you getting the facts from? Like, how are you getting the facts?
We
There's
have
an
this,
API. Let me
Yeah.
go to my README.
for the past
There is-
2 weeks, we've just been sitting down.
Why did the
going through
website render like
Wikipedia.
this?
Let's see.
Why did the website do that?
It's in dark mode, but I forgot to change the text color. I guess just put that in the Zoom meeting.
Oh yeah, I'll just grab it.
I'll also
It's just
send
this
out
API.
with everyone's project repos in it. So if folks want to take a book through later on, they can.
Yeah.
Cool. Looking good. Good stuff.
Thank you very much.
See, up next is Clement and Saki with a Marvel character thing. Is that right?
Is Clement in the meeting?
Meeting. Good question.
A
Clement, no.
partner, but I got it. All right. Where is okay? I will share my screen now. This time I made sure I don't have millions of tabs on my browser. So yeah, so this is what we did for our project. So Marvel Universe is the name of this app. It has a list of characters right here, and user, hold on. This is what you see when you first go to the website, and you can click on each character and you can see the details, the picture of the character and description of the character. And if you like this character, you can add to your favorite and it'll show here. And then if you go to another character and add, you can keep adding, new characters to your favorite list. And when we added this button, at first it was adding duplicates to the list. So we had to add condition, to the function. So it checks the content of the list. And if there's a character already, then it doesn't add. But if there is not it will add a list to it. And also user can add a character. So here's for the demo, I will submit a character here and it gets added to the list. And yeah, so right now it's just showing 20 characters plus the one that was added. But if you go to the next page, it will show more. And then there's Clement made the whole DB.json information, and he was amazing. He gathered all the information, made sure all the links work for the image URL. And at the beginning, we only had like 20. We started with 20 characters, but then we added this filter function and realized that if we only have 20 characters, most of the letters don't have any character. So we added like 25 more. And then we didn't have these buttons at the beginning. But if we have like 50 characters, the list gets so long. That's why we added this button, so user can kind of, you know, do see characters page by page instead of just having a huge list. And we wanted to kind of add a scroll option, but it didn't work because it's inside a table, and I believe that it doesn't work for a single box in a table. You can scroll for the whole row. That was my understanding, but yeah, we just couldn't figure out, and then we came to this solution with the button. So yeah, it's working fine. And if you go to the DB.json file, the new character that we just added from the form is added here. So it's working fine. And yeah, this is what we got. Pretty happy with what we came up with and how it's working. Oh, and also if you like click on the favorite character, you can delete it. Yeah, that's all we have, I believe.
Nice, looked great.
Thank you.
Who has questions?
I'm a little curious about the left side panel. Is that a div that you're able to put that button in and scroll through?
Yeah, he was asking my question too.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
curious
that
about
work?
those
Yeah, that's cool.
pages.
This one?
Yeah,
the-
yeah, over there.
So it's inside of HTML file. It's hard coded here. I don't know if you guys did the, what is it? I think it was, the idea was taken from the Dog CEO lab. They had a drop down filter function for the lab, and we kind of could use that idea here. So character drop down. And then for the filter, the function is, where is it? Oh, drop down here. So once the user clicks on the alphabet, the change event fires, and then it fetches the data from the API, and then yeah, filter, check in the first letter of the character name, and render. Yeah, render character list function is passed on, and yeah.
Nice.
I had another question too. Can you go back to the how were you able to implement changing the page? Yeah, those buttons right there.
Page. Oh, so this is also from one of the labs. I don't know if you guys did the monsters lab, but it had these buttons to go to next pages. So every time the buttons, so these buttons are named forward and back. And we added the event listener click. And oh, the page is set to 1. The first page, because the first page, so if you add the page limit at the end, so we change the endpoint every time the API is fetched. And if you put limit equals 25 and then the page, it'll just show, so say if it's a page 1, it'll show first page of 20 characters. If it's 2, it will show 20, second page of 20 characters from the API data. So once it's clicked, if the pages, the number of the page is less than 3, because we only have 3 pages of 20 characters, it will add 1 to the page, and then it will fetch the character from the second page and render character list. And if the back is clicked, if the page is less than 2, because the minimum is 1, right? So if it's 2 or 3, we want the page to go down by 1, and then the page is set to here. And a render character list function is called for the characters on the page that we are calling, we are fetching.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might implement that in some
Yeah.
other way.
I
Cool,
was
thank
having
you.
trouble getting page buttons to work with mine, and they'd be very useful. That's good information.
Yeah, it was
Very helpful.
It was really helpful, yeah. Because we wanted to do the scroll, but we couldn't do it to just one box of the table for some reason. I'm sure there's a way, but we couldn't figure it out.
There are ways.
There's a way, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so
I think I like your way better though, because if you were able to scroll it, you'd just be scrolling endlessly.
Mhm.
yeah, going up and down, and it's kind of hard to like see characters, and you can even see the list of your favorite characters. So I think this way worked better for our project anyway, but yeah.
Cool. Any other questions we got?
I
Awesome.
like it.
Looks great.
So,
Love it.
all right, I'll stop share.
All right. Let's see. Next up, we have a cocktail generator from Colin and Gail, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Share my screen. So this is our cocktail generator. Can you see it? Yeah. All right. So for the main functionality, like on refresh, it'll generate a list of 5 cocktails, randomly generated cocktails, and it'll throw the first one in there so that you can see the ingredients, like what it needs, and then the instructions as well. And then for the 5, you can click on them kind of to see, like if you want to see details on one, you can find one that catches your eye. Click on it, see it. And also we did instructions that you can change the language. So like if you wanted to see the instructions in Italian or German, there's also Spanish as well, which weirdly enough has the least amount of cocktail instructions have Spanish. And then we did a search thing too. So if you have a cocktail in mind that you want to search, you could do like a Bloody Mary. It'll come up. And then we're just doing like fetch stuff on that. And then also if you don't want, you can refresh it, see new cocktails and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. What did you use for styling?
You would have to. I would defer that, to
That was
Gail.
me. I just experimented with a bunch of stuff, and yeah, I guess for the title, I set the background as like a GIF, and like made it transparent, so you can't really tell, but it's like it's moving, because like when you want a cocktail, you're like by the water or something. You know, that's kind of what I like wanted to do.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess other CSS things I also did, we made it mobile friendly, because I guess ideally, so we deployed this on GitHub, because ideally like you would use something like this on your phone, like when you're out with friends or whatever, and hey, I want to come up with a cocktail. So what I did was I'm really like glad I heard about that toolbox from Christian, because what I did was I think I downloaded an extension that basically simulates like different phones, which is more, it can be more thorough, but I guess for like, I didn't need to be that thorough because there were just so many devices that I like tested the formatting on. So based on like the screen size or the width, like I would transform kind of the instructions it would be more narrow and you would see it below, so you don't have to like scroll so much to look. I actually, maybe I can share my screen and just show what I did there.
Go ahead. I stopped sharing mine.
Okay, sure. Okay, so can you see that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have this extension here called Mobile Simulator or something like that. And ooh, let me make this tiny. You can see like the different kind of devices here. Obviously not the pro ones because we don't want to pay. But yeah, so on these different devices, you can see the instructions are there. So we turn that off. Obviously in desktop, you get the 3 kind of divs right like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, added some hovers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Looks great. Anyone else have questions?
I was curious about the language select. Does that just come in with your API information?
Yeah, weirdly.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool.
But weirdly, there isn't like any language stuff for the ingredients. It's just the instructions.
The languages are in the object, like when you get it, it's like it'll be like an
Mhm.
instruction that'll have a language at the end.
Yeah.
So we're just pulling from that.
Nice.
Is the code you wrote for that adaptive to how many different languages there are?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like if it doesn't have a certain language, it won't show the language.
So
It's
let
like
me
for this
try to
one.
find one that has other. See, none of them have Spanish.
So, like,
So okay,
see,
that
one doesn't
one,
have
this one.
German.
Yeah.
It'll only
So
show
whatever
what's
is available. Yeah, the code is basically just checking if it's null or whatever for that specific language.
Julep.
Yeah.
Cool. Looks great. Any last questions? All right. Love it. Good stuff. Let's see. Who do we have up next? I think we have an L visualizer from Eric and Margus. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see if we got it.
All right. Yeah, so can you all see? Cool, Marcus, you want to start talking?
Yeah, looks good. Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So fundamental idea here is a friend of yours maybe told you about a band and you want to see everything they've ever released in order of release date. And you don't want to use Google, you want to use the newest, greatest tool. You would come to this website and you would search for something.
For example,
yeah, what do you,
maybe you've never heard of the Beatles.
You probably never heard of the Beatles or any of their releases.
Small indie band.
Yeah, I mean, they're a pretty underground band. I don't know why we're using this for an example. It's clearly an underground band, but go ahead and search that anyway. And you get yourself a bio that is being pulled down from the Discogs API. Actually, almost all of this data. No, not almost.
Literally all of it is
literally
Discogs API.
all of this is coming down from Discogs. And then we added some fun functionality such as hovering. And if you were to hover, you would see exactly what you're looking at. You got the album. cover kind of enlarges, and you see the date of release, and you see the track listing along with, as long as the API is behaving, you also get the runtime of each track, kind of in a very easy to read way. And I just want to point out that this was a really fun project that I think took both Eric and I doing a lot of collaboration on ideas and things. That was, I want to say around yesterday was where we took a deep breath and or could like breathe and be like, we did it. And then from there, we pretty much spent yesterday and a little bit this morning stylizing. But yeah, some of the, Eric, if you want to talk about any of the features and how that came to be, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, you covered most of it. I think just some small things. I am using, or we are using, I decided on this because I don't remember why, but we're using the skeleton CSS framework. It generates, essentially, it generates a 12-column grid with rows. So you have, similar to Bootstrap, you get rows and then you get columns within those rows, and you can set each, element to a variable number of columns. So for example, I have 6 albums across. Each one of these is set to 2 columns. And then it contains within it a, I'll just pull up the index.html. Actually, I'll do it on the here. So you can see you got the content, you got the container, you got the search button div, you got the results wrapper div, you got the artist info row, the album container div. Within that, you got a bunch of different rows. And you can see in each one, you got a container div that has 2 columns. It's a class of 2 columns and assigns it 2 columns within the greater row framework. Within that, you have a figure with the image and the figure caption, which is the thumbnail that we pull from the Discogs API. The figure caption is just the name of the album, which we also pull from the Discogs API. In terms of the overlay, this pop-up window, that's separate from all these rows. That's in this pop-up container that is set to the CSS for that specifically as which one is it? Position fixed, which fixes it on top of the page when it's shown. And then we have JS code to event listeners. We have a mouse enter event listener on the image for each album. And then we also have a mouse leave event listener, which all that does is just adds the hide class to the pop-up container. The mouse enter event listener.
Eric, if I could pop in real quick, I did want
go
to
for
mention too that the mouse enter and the mouse leave event I built out and was pretty simplistic, but one thing that we did notice that Eric found the solution to was it was doing a regenerate, it was refreshing the page, refetching essentially as you drug across the image. And I'm not sure entirely.
So I can
but it was something I wanted you to definitely highlight, fixing that issue.
Yeah, I could show. So this is what it would look like. This is what it looked like, the bug that we had. As you can see, it's flashing, and then it overloads the API. They have a rate limit of 25 fetches per minute, and every single time the pop-up container would render and the class would be taken away, it would call another fetch, which, as you can imagine, causes serious issues. So I found this pointer events none CSS property that just makes the pop-up, and then it makes the pop-up. I'll do a different band. Let's go with The Who. Oh, probably. Yeah, it's rate limited still, so we gotta wait. Sorry.
Oh,
about
we just broke it. Sorry, I shouldn't have brought it up.
yeah, no, it's all good. It was a cool bug, fun to figure out how to fix, but this pointer events none just makes the pop-up container ignore the pointer and ignore everything that the pointer does. So the pointer kind of just goes through that pop-up container and still is registered as hovering over the album itself, as opposed to the album being hidden by the pop-up container and essentially like causing that on mouse leave event listener to trigger. Other stuff. The oh, is it working now? Yes, it works.
There you go.
The code to get them into a new row is an absolute mess, if you ask me. But where was that? I can't remember where it was, but this one for each album, selected row, a couple different if statements, creating new rows, all that jazz was fun. We also cleaned the response that we got, because the responses that we were getting from the Discogs API included a lot of releases where the actual release itself was different, but it would be the same master release. So it'd be like 4 or 5 different releases of, for example, 4 or 5 different releases of Who's Next in different countries. Oh shoot, what the heck? That should not have happened. That was weird. But we were able to, I made this function. I guess not really, I mean, it's an anonymous function that's immediately invoked, but it essentially compares every result that we get in the array of objects of albums to every other result. And if anything has the same master ID, it just deletes it and returns, or it pops everyone that doesn't have the same master ID into a new clean album list. And then it sorts it by year, which is why it probably still doesn't work because of that. Yeah. Anyways,
Gail
Marcus?
is asking what font is the title. That was something that was pretty cool too. And I got to say, in terms of just doing this project, real quick, I'll just say that obviously, I'm sure a lot of you had the exact same experience of the nervousness of collaborating with somebody else and trying to read 2 people or more's code as you compile code together, and running into all those things and trying to be able to read somebody else's coding style and everything is difficult. But once we got the skeleton up of what the functionality was going to be, Eric, who initially was not super stoked on the idea of playing with CSS, I think we both found that it was very fun to collaborate on CSS. And to answer your question, Gail, the font came from this website called, what the hell is it called?
DaFonts, DA Fonts.
DA Fonts, and they're free, and it was pretty cool. There are pages and pages of fonts. And actually, last thing, right up there at the top, Eric.
Yeah, you can see
it's a @FontFace, and it took 2 lines of code to put that in there, which seemed really daunting at first, trying to read through the documentation, but it's actually pretty simple. Basically, you need to create a fonts folder and then name it whatever you want. In this case,
you don't need a fonts folder, but it's good practice.
Well, it just made it easier to access, but essentially, that font came from a font from dafonts.com, org, net, whatever it was.
Can I say something about?
That's cool.
Can I say something about fonts real quick as well? For those that are interested in listening. Google has a complete database of fonts that you can use as well through Google Fonts. If you want to search through like whatever fonts are available, it's very easy to use, very easy to implement. So there's literally thousands and thousands of like fonts through Google Fonts. If you want to take a look at that for those that are interested.
Cool, thank you.
Sorry.
No, that's good. Thank you. And actually we did put the outline on that custom font, which was also turned out to be pretty easy. We played around with CSS pretty much for a couple hours this morning, and this is where we ended up. So
that's
all I got. Eric, if you got anything else?
Some issues, I guess, places to take this. You know, extra deliverables beyond what we have. Some albums don't display time stamp, don't display song durations. Pretty sure that is on Discog's end, not our end. I would like to make it so that hovering over the title of the album keeps the pop-up displayed. Unfortunately, when I set the event listener to the full figure instead of just the image, it caused issues when mousing out, where the pop-up would stay up even if the mouse was no longer over the figure. For some reason, on the published page in GitHub, it doesn't recognize the font, doesn't actually read the font in. So that's why we're doing it on the live server in my local machine. Yeah, maybe add some more stuff about, you know, add an artist picture, maybe stuff like that, you know. But the core functionality, I'm very proud of. Marcus is very proud of, and we think it turned out really well.
Yeah, it looks great. Anyone else have any other questions before we jump? Cool. No, it looks great.
Thank you.
Let's see. Next up is Brewery Raider with Gabby and Jacob.
There we go. I'm sharing my screen. Give me 1 second.
Are we the first of the brewery folks to show ours?
Can you see it? Is it showing?
Yeah.
Okay. So we get a random drink here. It's like a type of different types of beer, and you can vote on if you like them or dislike them. And what we do to get this value is we take the upvotes minus the downvotes and then display this number. We have a
And this
list.
information comes from a JSON file that we have locally on the project.
Yeah, and they're persisting too. I put a patch to take the votes and then put it into the JSON. Then we have a list of breweries that we pull from a API. I don't have the link for the API, but there's like a long thing of all the breweries. You can click on them, displays their name, the type of brewery it is, and where they are, and then I don't know why that's. Oh, they don't have a value for this one because this is a. What do they use for the map? Coordinates?
Yeah, it uses the longitude and latitude, and some of them don't have them in the API. So if it doesn't, it just shows like a random null values in the map.
Yeah, and you can go through all of them.
Oh, I think we're looking at your VS Code.
Huh? How?
Oh, that's my bad. That's my screen. My bad.
And then you can add your own, and it comes down with this little form for us. And just to show, you can do like test. You can choose the type of brewery, put all these in, submit it, and then when you click on it, it shows up, of course. And then this also gets patched to a JSON file, and it loads from both the API and the JSON file. So when we refresh, it still persists.
Yeah. And then we also have the light mode and dark mode thing up there.
Yep.
And it's all responsive. It's all like you can see it on different devices. Yeah, this is like on an iPhone. The stuff still opens and closes. Yeah.
And yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. What questions do we have?
I'm curious about that map
Yes.
I was just gonna
Matt.
say.
or things that are going to come up.
Yeah.
Apparent in a minute.
The map was it was hard to figure out when we were first looking at it. It looked like we had to use like an API or use like Open Streets, which is like an open source map situation, but it didn't look as pretty, and it was hard to like plug in the information from the API. So basically, it's the plus codes, which is like a extension of Google Maps where you can like put in longitude and latitude, and I just interpolated the values from the API into that link. So it's like a really clean, simple link that's like plus.codes, and then the values that we get from the API. So that's why sometimes if the API doesn't have the coordinates, then it won't show anything, and it'll just show this random map. But yeah, and there is like an error if you do inspect when you like click on the a brewery. It says that like Google doesn't allow not using the API or something like that. It's like, it's a weird error. So I don't know if Google's very happy about the fact that it's like a workaround, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they're not happy about that.
Oh, and it's just in an iframe. So yeah, put the source in an iframe and then just set the dimensions that you want it to look like.
Cool. That's a nice workaround. I love it. Yeah, Google Maps stuff is always super impressive looking. What other questions do we have? All right, love it. Let's see our next brewery app provider from Henry and Jason.
Alrighty, I can share my screen for that one.
Yep.
Let me just make sure. Alrighty. So yeah, so this is our project. So pretty much we designed this website so that if you're traveling or you're just curious about breweries in a particular area, or you can just filter by name, you can find it pretty quickly. So if you just type in Santa Barbara, you hit find froth, it'll show you a list of breweries in that particular city. And then you can even do it by brewery names. Let's just do, and then it'll like filter out any keywords that have breweries with the search that you're trying to find. So all of these have the word brewery in them to render in this search result box. And then you can even expand that list to show even more results. And then that div will push all the way down to the bottom as well. The neat thing about this is we added a profiles section. So let's say, if I were to refresh, the default is none, and you could still look up breweries and it would still render, but you wouldn't be able to add it to this favorites list. Instead, it would show an error message advising you to select a profile. So let's just go to mine. And this was done using a db.json. So all of these are persisting, they delete. So going back to Santa Barbara, say I wanted to add this M special, I can just click it, it'll show you the details right here, and then you can favorite, and then it'll add on. The neat thing is if you try to accidentally add the same brewery twice, it'll again render an error message telling you not to do that.
Also, the profile select and drop down has errors associated with it, because it turns out that with the way that this was implemented, if you named your profile correctly, you could completely break the website. So I had to enter a number of parameters that it won't allow you to enter as a profile, and also it won't allow you to enter the same exact string as a profile that already exists. So yep, and just you can demo the create profile. It's all persistent. It'll pop up, it's not showing on his window, but this pops up a prompt dialog. I'm not sure why that's not showing. We can see you mousing over, but it must be like hidden
Oh,
or something.
yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but I just created a profile for Mark.
Yeah.
You click on Mark.
We'll come back to that because I'd like to show it off and see if it'll show up on my screen. It might be a security thing with your web browser. It won't allow you to record that prompt that pops up. But anyway, there's a little thing that drops down from the top, says enter your name, and creates a profile.
Yeah, so when you hit this, like an alert box pops up, which I guess you guys can't see, but it's right here where I'm mousing over. And it just says like, the page says, please enter your name, 15 character max. And then you can just input a name, hit OK. And then it'll add you to this profile list right here. And yeah, is there anything else maybe you wanted to?
Do you mind if I share my screen to see if we can
Sir.
see if we can show off that a little bit more? Because there's a couple of functions there that make a difference. I'm going to share my screen 3. Okay, so let's see if that works now. Can you see the box here?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it is showing on my end. And yeah, it's just an alert box, says please enter your name, maximum of 15 characters, so you can enter whoever. I hadn't entered him yet, so we'll add Mark. And the profiles are persistent. Anything that you add will stick around, even through changing profiles back and forth, including deletion. And when you delete, it also prompts you to say, are you sure you want to delete that? And if you cancel, it just says cancel delete to let the user know that didn't occur. And yeah, I think it came together quite well. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Sure.
Where did the giant beer image and froth finder come? Yeah, that whole
This
thing.
This is vector art that I created myself using a free vector art creation software, Inkscape.
Okay.
I just built the shapes out, and I found the font on a free for commercial use font website.
Gotcha.
I can't remember the exact name of the website where I found it, but this is baked right into the vector image. So it is a single, it's all one single image, this whole thing. Same with this button. This is actually an image swap when you mouse over this.
Nice.
Just one that's highlighted, one that's not. And
How does that work? Can you break that down? How does
sure.
that highlight work?
That is a mouse over event.
Sure.
If I can find the correct mouse over event. Where is it? Add event listener, click mouse over.
A little bit down.
Create profile option a little bit down. Okay, yeah. This is the one for the thing. So yeah, this is just the profile button, and it's just mouse over, and these are helper functions. It's just grabbing the ID that's in here. And it says yeah, if it's not already highlighted, highlight it. Am I looking at the right thing, Henry?
I think this is.
No, this is the one right here. It's right here. I'm one thing above it. Yeah. So anyway, grab the profile button, and when it's moused over, switch it out with another image. We're changing the source attribute to the new image, which is the highlighted circle. And when mouse leaves, return it back to its original image. So that's baked right into the
that
code.
was done using like a vector image software.
Yeah, so I created
you
these
have
using
one that has the white and one that doesn't.
right.
Okay.
So there's just two
Gotcha.
images here. One is the same, they're both exactly the same, except the outer circle
Gotcha.
has a different color to it.
Very
So when you
cool.
mouse over it. And then this is another mouse over event that's done right in the JavaScript that says when moused over, turn yellow and then turn back when it's not. So
cool.
Yep. Any other questions about anything?
Oh, looks super good. Anyway,
we did receive some help with Bootstrap from Christian.
Cool.
Thank you, Christian.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving us a guiding light while we were working with that. That was mostly just to get things lined up kind of where we wanted them on the page. And yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
Cool.
Cool. And let's bring it home, last but not least, with Caitlin by herself.
All right. I'm just gonna warn you guys, I did literally no styling because I was very frustrated and just wanted to get it done. So without further ado, let's see. That's the one I want. So this is the start of my site. So you can select a different type of liquor. I use the same database that Gail and whoever she was with used. So if you choose vodka, it'll give you a list of drinks. I had some issues with the API, so I spent a lot of time just like building a DB-JSON file. That's why I only have like a few drinks, so they're all just in that file. And then you can click on the drink and it'll show you an image, the ingredients, and the instructions to make it. And then you can kind of switch over. I realized this morning that I broke my submit button. So for some reason, the prevent default isn't working right now, but basically I had it set to show like a message, like thanks for your feedback when you submit, but it's not doing that right now. So I'll have to go back in and figure that out. But yeah, different drinks for the different liquor types.
Cool. If you had another week to work on this, what would you do?
I would definitely add a ton of styling to it and make it not this. And then I also wanted to add like a post for the reviews so that they would actually generate and be attached to the drinks. So that would have been the next goal for the page.
Cool. Yeah, seeing it like this is actually great, I think, because y'all did an amazing job with styling all around. But like this is what it is under the hood, and it kind of makes you realize like, oh, like you could start off with this site, and if I gave just this to half a dozen different people, say don't change any HTML, just style it, we'd get 6 wildly different designs probably. So it's really cool to see like just the bare functionality, and then think about like, oh, okay, if I was going to design this, I would put this here and put this over here and color this that way. So yeah, but this is like ultimately this is what we're building. So it's cool. Awesome. Questions? Awesome. Love it. And that is our first round of projects. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Cool.
I'm sorry, I was late to the game. I did have one question.
Excellent. Go for it. Yeah.
You mentioned using the same API. What was the API for the drink thing?
It was just like the cocktail database is what it was called.
Oh.
I think it's thecocktaildb.com.
Oh, okay. I was just curious what that API was. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Awesome. I'm going to paste the link in chat that should give you everyone's projects. Project spreadsheet. So if you want to poke through code or see how someone did something, it should all be in there. Other than that, we're done with phase 1. Congratulations. You did it. I scheduled a message. I think it'll show up in about an hour. There's an end of phase survey that we like you to hit. So give everyone big numbers if you like them, and if not, let us know. So and the more people that respond to that, the better as well. So we get a better idea of how we're doing. Yeah. So phase 2 is released in Canvas, so you should be able to go and see that now. If you can't for any reason, let me know and we'll fix it up. So I think Matt also has a list of things to look at, the same schedule as for phase 1. So I'll send that out. I'll dig that up, and yeah, take a look at phase 2 stuff now. Rest up because you deserve it. You just did a lot of work over the whole week, and we'll get together at the usual time after lunch for stand down and do feelings and all that stuff. Cool. Any last words before we head out?
Great job, everybody.
Yeah, great job.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
It was long road,
we
but we
did
made
it.
it through phase one.
Yeah.
4 more to go.
4 more to go. You're 1/5 of the way through. No problem.
That's right.
Easy peasy. Just like getting through a Monday. Cool. Well, I'll end it here. I'll post this video up so y'all can see it, and I'll see y'all in a little bit. Thanks for hanging out.